The price of trust. Sarah Bennett stood in front of her gallery's newest exhibition, absently twisting her wedding ring, a nervous habit she'd developed over the past decade of marriage. The ring caught the subtle gallery lighting, sending tiny reflections dancing across her latest photographs. 10 years of trust, love, and shared dreams captured in a simple band of gold. Her solo exhibition, Intimate Distances, was opening in less than an hour. The white walls were adorned with her signature black and white photographs, candid moments between couples, stolen glances, intertwined hands, the quiet poetry of everyday love. The irony wasn't lost on her that she'd built her career capturing other people's romance, while her own marriage had begun showing hairline fractures she couldn't quite bring into focus. "The lighting's perfect," came a voice behind her. James Chen, her assistant curator, appeared at her shoulder, clipboard in hand. At 28, he was 5 years her junior, with an eye for detail that had made him invaluable over the past year. "The caterers are set up, and the first guests should be arriving soon." Sarah nodded, trying to shake off her melancholy. "Thanks, James. Have you heard from Michael? He promised he'd be here early." A flicker of something, discomfort, concern, crossed James's face. "No, but I'm sure he'll make it. He knows how important tonight is." She checked her phone again. No messages from her husband. Michael had been increasingly absent lately, claiming his architectural firm was pursuing a major contract that required long hours. She understood ambition, shared it herself, but lately, the gallery doors opened and guests began filtering in. Sarah switched into professional mode, greeting collectors and critics, discussing her artistic process, accepting congratulations. Her photographs were selling well, red dots appearing beside pieces throughout the evening. But Michael's continued absence felt like a weight in her chest. 2 hours into the opening, she finally got a text. "Stuck in crucial meeting. So sorry. Celebrate for both of us. Love you." Sarah stared at the message until the screen went dark, remembering similar texts over the past few months. Missed dinners, abbreviated conversations. The growing silence in their bedroom as they lay facing away from each other, both pretending to sleep. "Hey." James appeared with a glass of wine. "You look like you need this." She accepted it gratefully. "That obvious?" "Only to someone who's been watching." He gestured toward one of her photographs, a couple walking through Central Park, the woman looking ahead while the man gazed at something off camera. "You have a gift for capturing the spaces between people, the moments when connection starts to fray." Sarah studied the image. She'd titled it Divergence, but hadn't fully understood why until now. "Maybe I've been photographing my own marriage without realizing it." The evening wound down, collectors departed with their purchases, and the catering staff began cleaning up. Sarah found herself in her office, sharing a last glass of wine with James as they reviewed the sales figures. "It was a huge success," James said, his genuine excitement for her achievement evident. "You should be proud." "I am." Sarah smiled, but it felt brittle. "I just wish he should have been here." James's voice was soft, understanding. "You deserve better." Something in his tone made Sarah look up. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the air seemed to thicken. James leaned forward slightly, then caught himself and stood abruptly. "I should go. Need to finish the sales paperwork before Monday." Sarah watched him leave, her heart racing with recognition of what had almost happened. She gathered her things quickly, needing to escape the suddenly confining gallery walls. The drive home took her past Michael's office building. A light was still on in his window, confirming his late meeting story. On impulse, she pulled into the parking garage. Maybe they could salvage the evening, grab a late dinner, reconnect. The elevator ride to the 14th floor felt longer than usual. The office suite was dark, except for the light from Michael's corner office. Sarah walked quietly across the empty floor, planning to surprise him. She heard the laugh first, a woman's laugh, intimate and familiar. Through the glass wall of Michael's office, Sarah saw them, her husband and his young associate, Emma, standing close together by his desk. As Sarah watched, frozen, Michael brushed Emma's hair back from her face with a tenderness Sarah hadn't felt from him in months. The world tilted sideways. Sarah must have made a sound because suddenly they were looking at her through the glass, their expressions shifting from intimacy to shock to guilt. She turned and ran, ignoring Michael's calls behind her. The next week passed in a blur of confrontations, accusations, and tearful confessions. 6 months, Michael admitted. He and Emma had been seeing each other for 6 months. He loved Sarah, he claimed, but things with Emma had just happened. Just happened, Sarah repeated, staring at their wedding photo on the mantel. Like gravity, like weather, like you had no choice in the matter. I never meant to hurt you, Michael said, reaching for her hand. She pulled away. But you did it anyway. Every day for 6 months, you chose to hurt me. She moved out that weekend, taking only what she needed. James helped her find a small apartment near the gallery, his friendship a lifeline during those first raw weeks. He never pushed, never tried to take advantage of her vulnerability, but his steady presence helped her remember who she was beyond her marriage. Slowly, Sarah began to see her work differently. Her camera captured new subjects, solitary figures emerging from shadows, broken things finding beauty in their brokenness, the strength in standing alone. Her new series, After Trust, earned critical acclaim for its honest portrayal of resilience in the face of betrayal. One evening, months later, Sarah was working late at the gallery when James brought her coffee and sat quietly while she edited photos. "Thank you," she said suddenly. "For the coffee? For not trying to fix me, for letting me be broken until I was ready to put myself back together." James set down his cup. "Sarah, I need to tell you something." He took a deep breath. "I've accepted a position at a gallery in Seattle." Sarah felt an unexpected pang. "When do you leave? Next month?" He hesitated. "I care about you, maybe more than I should. That's part of why I need to go. You need time to heal, to figure out who you are now, and I need to not be the rebound guy." Sarah looked at him thoughtfully. "You're a good man, James Chen. Maybe someday when we're both ready, our timing will be better." He smiled. "But for now, we both need to focus on our own paths." After he left, Sarah studied her latest photographs on the computer screen. They were different from her earlier work, stronger, more complex, unafraid of shadows. Like her, they had evolved through pain into something new. She opened her email and began typing. "Dear Gallery Council, I propose a new exhibition for the fall season. Working title, Redemption." Her cursor hovered over the send button as she considered James's words about paths and timing. Finally, she clicked send. tomorrow would bring what it would bring. For now, she had her art, her growing strength, and the knowledge that betrayal, while it had broken her, had also freed her to become something more than she had been before. The next morning, Sarah woke early and took her camera to Central Park. The rising sun painted everything in shades of possibility, and for the first time in months, she felt truly ready to capture whatever images life presented. She photographed an elderly couple sharing a bench and a comfortable silence, a young woman doing yoga by herself on the grass, a flock of pigeons erupting into flight. Each click of the shutter felt like writing a new story, one where betrayal was not an ending, but a difficult chapter in a longer tale. Walking home, Sarah passed a small antique shop. In the window sat a vintage camera, beautifully worn by years of use. She thought of James, of Michael, of all the photographs she had yet to take. Then she went inside and bought the camera, not to replace what she had lost, but to begin collecting new memories. That evening, she added a final line to her exhibition proposal. Sometimes, the most beautiful images emerge from the darkest negatives. 6 months later, when Redemption opened, James flew in from Seattle to attend. They stood together, looking at the centerpiece of the exhibition, a triptych showing the progression from darkness to light, from solitude to connection, from betrayal to renewal. "You did it," James said softly. Sarah nodded, touching the old camera that now hung around her neck. "No, we did it. All of us. Every person who breaks us, every person who helps us heal, they're all part of the picture." As guests filled the gallery, Sarah felt a familiar urge to capture the moment. She raised her camera, both the old and new ones ready, and began to photograph the scene. Through her lens, she saw not just what was, but what could be. The endless possibilities that open up when we're brave enough to trust again, even after betrayal has taught us the price of trust. The final photograph of the evening showed Sarah herself, reflected in the gallery window, cameras in hand, ready to face whatever came next. She titled it Self-Portrait with Future, and it marked not an ending, but a beginning